that first part of me, I'm completely lost in the wind. I can't retrieve that.
Oh
It
no.
bugs, yeah, it bugs the hell out of me. But we'll not repeat ourselves. However, so I'm Johnny Fox. This is Fox Tales. This is Jojo from Toybox Time Machine.
Hello.
She doesn't have a real time machine, but she has the closest that you'll ever get. Boxes and boxes and boxes of childhood plastic memories.
Yep.
Which is fantastic. So, Power Rangers, uh,
Star Wars,
Star
Marvel,
Wars, the Marvel stuff. Oh, stuff
Batman.
we all love. We're all here for that. We can stand to talk about that for much, much longer, hopefully.
Yeah.
The Gremlins won't interrupt. We like Gremlins too. You got any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I do. I do have a Gizmo stuffed animal from the
Yay.
late 80s. Yep.
Fantastic.
And I sure do.
So, okay. Yeah. Yes. So we were just before we were rudely interrupted, we were talking about collecting almost for the sake of collecting or for
Hmm.
the maybe cashing in at the right price one day
Hmm.
versus actually using these things, playing
Hmm.
with them, reading them, watching them,
Hmm.
whatever it might be. So you do a bit of both.
Yeah, I do both. And honestly, when it comes to toys, like I had mentioned before, if I like something enough or if I feel like it might be worth something in the future, if I can, I'll buy two, just like I used to, well, just like my father used to when I was younger. I find though, I tend to sell things that I don't care as much about. So when you were talking about comics, I like comics. Comics are great, but I didn't grow up um, reading them as much. And so for me, if I find a cool comic at a thrift store or wherever, and I know that it is worth something more than what they're selling it for, I will pick it up. But I don't really have a lot of attachment to it.
Yeah.
So with the toys that I have a whole lot of attachment to. So are there some, I've had some people reach out wanting to buy the Power Rangers stuff, and I've always teetered on, I don't know, I don't think I'm ready to sell it, or I don't think I'm going to sell it. If I have more than one, I definitely will. And like with the trading
Yeah.
cards, I have boxes and boxes of trading cards. And more often than not, I've got doubles. So I don't mind selling, the doubles. But when it comes to collecting toys, more often than not, it's going to be probably used at some point in time, unless I know that I can buy two of them and then in hopes that maybe,
Yeah.
in the future it'll be maybe worth something. But yeah, all the toys that I have been used pretty much.
As they should
Yeah.
be. As they should be. Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, there's the high end stuff
Yeah.
that you can buy these days. I mean, crikey, some of it's
I mean, if
like really, really
it's
good and really, really
right,
pricey.
if it's
Which
like
brings in the
sorry,
no,
go ahead.
go.
No, you're right. If it's like a limited series type of thing, like I'm not taking it out of the box. But then that for me is almost like a display feature. It's not
Yeah,
even a toy at that point. Like if it's I don't know, some of like the Black series, for instance, like Star Wars stuff, I have two and I will keep them in the box. I won't take them out. But if it's like a micro machine or something like that, you know, I'll probably pull it out of the box. So there's certain things, right, that like, okay, this is really isn't a toy. It's kind of a display piece that I'm gonna put on my desk or whatever the case may be.
yeah. So, uh, so you liked your Power Rangers
Hmm.
growing up, an action girl, right?
I
Um,
did karate because of it. I started
really?
karate when I was 6 years old. I did it all the way till I was 19. That is how obsessed I was with Power Rangers.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anything else? Did anything else get a look in? Some turtles, maybe?
So I wasn't super into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I do have some stuff that was probably mostly my dad's. I have some stuff now, however, because again, like I was just saying, if I see something for a good price that I know will be worth or hope that's, it's worth something at
Yeah.
some point, I'll buy it. So I bought it's a it's the van, the
All right.
TMNT van that comes with a couple of the I can't remember if it comes with all the characters. I think it does come with all the four turtles, and I'm not gonna touch it. And I'm gonna sell it at some point because it doesn't mean anything to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I appreciate them, I like it, but it's not like, like the bank that I just bought. Like I will keep that forever. Even if somebody offers me $300, I know that that's not worth $300. I'm not. That's not worth it for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, uh, a lot of Batman toys. So Batman 89, Batman Returns. And I haven't found that box yet, but I know that we have it. So like, the Batman helicopter, the submarine, the Batwing. I know that those are all somewhere. Same with, I just stumbled upon most of my prequel Star Wars toys, and I'm trying to very OCD about it. I opened the box, and I'd been looking for this box for a while, and I realized that I need to categorize them by movie.
Okay.
I don't need to, but
Yeah.
I'm going to at some point. And I think, just in me doing that too, like I can, my daughter can help me and she can play with them, and, we can kind of relive because she loves Star Wars too, which I'm very, very
Yeah.
happy about. Like I said, Marvel, bunch of Marvel 90s. What was it? Most of them are the Toy Biz
Oh,
line. Um, and they're all used. I think most of them, I think there might be a couple in there that might be worth something. And I mean, I'm sure I could get money for them, but it's almost like I'd rather just have them,
yeah.
for for the most part.
So do you have? So do you have then? I know a lot of collectors have what they might refer to as a holy grail. Uh,
The what?
a holy grail
Oh, okay.
item
Uh-huh.
that they'd be hunting. Is that not really a thing for you?
Um, I think I know it when I
Yeah.
see it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I would like to get, so I do have part of oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. But when the Power Rangers come together, what is it?
Oh, the
The
Megazord.
Megazord?
Yeah.
Megazord, there we go. I'm missing a couple of pieces. Well, they broke. So I'm hoping that at some point I can, buy those the actual the whatever again so that I can, put it together. Um, but I don't know. I'm so weird when it comes to buying toys because, before the first video got scrapped, unfortunately. I went to a toy convention. I'd never been before. I don't know how I'd never known about it. It's been going on for a while, and anything you wanted, it was there. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I couldn't. And I'm glad I didn't really bring a lot of money with me. I did that on purpose,
That's, that's a
because I
good
didn't.
move.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good move for
I
someone new.
limited.
For someone new to the convention scene, that's a wise old move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I've gone to, gaming conventions and, Comic Cons and stuff like that, but I'd never been to a toy convention. And to be fair, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know how big it was going to be, but I just figured, oh, I'll bring this amount of money. This should be enough. And it wasn't, but that's okay. I got the bank, like I said. I used to have the R2D2 C3PO. I think they came out in 96. I had that bank, and I'd never seen this one before. I don't know how, anyways. So I bought that right before I left, and kind of worked out because I like kind of haggled with the people too. I'm like, I'll give you this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Hot Wheels, vintage G.I. Joe, tons and tons of Power Rangers, stuff that I used to have that I don't think I have anymore. Um, I mean, like I said, whatever you can think of, they had it. They had some really cool Indiana Jones action figures. I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. I wanted to buy Mala Ram, but it was like $90, and I was like, I don't know if I like him that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is that you're collecting, I think whatever it is, things are only worth what people are willing to pay
Right.
at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it goes up, it comes down, it goes back up again,
Mm-hmm.
it skyrockets, it comes back
Mm-hmm.
down again, and it's all as things come and go. They start bringing out a new movie or a
Right.
video game or something,
Yep.
and all of a sudden it's cool again. And just
Yep.
a year or so earlier, you'd have got this stuff for peanuts,
Yeah.
but then there's a new movie, and no, it's $90.
Right. Well, and it's like, that's how what records, same thing with
Yeah,
records, right? Like records really were a thing of the past and now it's back. VHS, I went and bought a one of those old TV VHS combos and at a store, at a second, well, not a thrift store, but I went to like a secondhand like electronic store. It was like $90. I found one though that someone was selling from their house for like 55. So I still feel like I feel like okay, fine, $55 for an electronic. But, like there's not much you can do with it, and they're only like, like yay big. It's
yeah,
it's just because it comes games, right? Like NES games or Genesis games and stuff. Of course, depending on the game, right, it'll be super
yeah,
expensive. But, now retro gaming is huge again.
man,
And
so huge.
I mean, it always kind of stays pretty big, but at one point recently, I feel like it just really peaked. And, I like I like retro games. I'm more of a PlayStation 2 and up. Like Dreamcast is one of my favorites. GameCube is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
So I can't find Dreamcast games anywhere unless I'm
no,
spending 80 bucks, 90 bucks.
oh
And
yeah,
it's just like, well, depending on, and I have quite a few games, but the discs are just completely scratched. So some of them work for a short period of time and some don't work at all. But it's exactly like how much am I willing to pay for Crazy Taxi? Am I going to pay 100 or I'm going to wait until maybe it goes to 60 because I will pay 60 for it.
yeah.
But
Again, it's if you're gonna play it,
mhm,
if you want to buy it because you want to play it, there are very cheap ways you can play that game
right.
on other consoles. If you
Mhm,
want the whatever it might be, let's say the Genesis version, and you want to play it on your Genesis, then
mhm.
all of a sudden it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you just want the fun of playing the game,
Mhm.
you can do that fairly cheaply. And
Yeah.
there's a remake coming along very shortly, and Sega's doing quite a few of their classic games all next gen up.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
and and then there's the emulators too, right? I mean, you can go
Oh,
and get an emulator, which is great. That's a lot of fun. I think because deep down I am a collector. If I can get it for the amount of money, of course, that I want to pay,
yeah,
I'll get it. But otherwise, I'll probably buy an emulator at some point, or put it on a Raspberry Pi and stick it in the arcade, something like that. So.
yeah. Brilliant. So, if we're mentioning gaming, you mentioned Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
Uh, have you had any time? Did you play the Great
The new
Circle
one?
game?
I have not. I have not yet. And only because I've heard it's really great.
It really
And
is.
only because, yeah, only because I just don't have time yet, and I don't want to start it and then put it off for weeks and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
feel like I have to start over again, which is why I haven't played the latest Zelda. I have no idea when I'm going to get around to it, but I just know that I don't have the time yet. So I'm hoping though within like the next, I don't know. I'm hoping for like May. I can make time for it. The only thing I'm really playing right now is probably Marvel Rivals, and just because you can pop in and out whenever you want, there's no rhyme or reason, to go on it. But
Yeah.
I've heard great things. Have you played
Oh,
it?
I would. I played it, and I would suggest you're totally right to make the
Mm-hmm.
time because I think it's a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, if you're a fan of the franchise as well, as just
Mhm.
enjoying a good game,
Mhm.
then yeah, because when you start it, you won't want to stop. You'll have to make the time to
Mhm.
complete the damn thing. At least a lot of games, I don't know about you, when I'm playing games with sort of like main missions and side missions, I will
Mhm.
tend to be, I will try and ignore the main storyline as much as possible and go
And
off
just do
and
the
do other
side.
things.
Mhm.
But as an indie fan, the story was so good that I just wanted to know what happens next and play the story, and I'll
Really.
come back and do the other stuff later. And I don't do that very often, but I was
Mhm.
so engrossed in the story. It's the movie we never got.
Oh,
It's the
oh,
fourth
cool.
movie we always wanted instead of the movies that we actually did get after Last Crusade. It's so good.
I'm
And
very,
Troy
I'm
Baker,
excited then.
yeah, and Troy Baker, voice actor extraordinaire. People are into that kind of stuff, know his name very well. He
Mhm.
does the best in, you would swear it's Harrison Ford and a younger
Really.
at Harrison Ford. It's flawless.
That's exciting.
It's
I
so
mean, the game
immersive.
itself
Yeah.
looks beautiful. The gameplay looks really, really great too.
Yeah, any fan of sort of like Tomb Raider, especially the Tomb Raider reboots,
Mhm.
certainly when they happened a while back, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Cool. I'm excited then because Indiana Jones is definitely one of my favorite IPs. I did, not really. I know that people didn't really like Crystal Skull. I I deal with
yeah,
it. The last one, I don't even know what happened with the last one. But
they maybe tried
I'm
too hard, I think.
I don't know. I feel like everybody's just confused on what people want nowadays, I guess. I don't know. Everybody is trying I think yeah, there's an element of trying too hard, and it's a big I mean, Indiana Jones, what? Since when did Raiders come out? 81 or
80,
80? I can't
81, yeah.
remember. Yeah, so I mean, it's been around for a very long time. So you've got, big shoes to fill. And growing up, Last Crusade was my favorite. I don't really know why. As I've gotten older, I'm kind of leaning towards more Raiders. Uh, but I mean, I love them all. I don't know. I don't,
Yeah.
it's like which child do I love the most? I love them all. But but I've heard really great things, so I'm excited to play it because again, it's one of my favorite IPs.
So is there anything for you, sort of like nostalgia wise?
Hmm.
Because we do live in a world, it's everything's reboots, remakes, or as I think they call them, legacy sequels,
Hmm.
or whatever. Is there anything for you that you would be? Is there anything? I don't know if there's anything really left for
Yeah.
them. But is there anything you'd be like, please don't touch that. Please just leave that alone, please.
I'm like trying to think what
Yeah.
hasn't been redone.
They-
Uh, because I was gonna say Gremlins, but they technically redid that too. I mean, they made it into a series. Um, I would say, gosh, well, Aliens, no. They redid that. Lord of the Rings, no. Star
that,
Wars,
that,
no.
they'll never stop
Yeah,
doing that one.
maybe not because I love it. I mean, I do enjoy Jaws, but just like I could see that at some point being like, oh, let's redo Jaws. Like, just leave it. Leave
Yeah,
Jaws. Jaws was great.
I like the fact that people have made like a million Killer Shark films,
Yeah,
and that's the way to go. If you think
yeah.
like, oh, I've got a good idea for a Jaws reboot,
No,
just you call it Killer
yeah.
Shark, you call it, you know,
Big teeth.
whatever. Yeah, and we don't need that specific IP to
Hmm.
be rebooted.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same for most things.
Hmm.
You don't need to reboot Star Wars. You just do, Space Samurai, the
Yeah.
movie, and there you
Hmm.
go. You know,
Hmm.
you can kind of leave people's childhood alone. We could have had like, giant robots attack instead of some
Hmm.
really terrible Transformers movies, which was a big thing for me.
Hmm.
I was a huge,
Oh.
well, I still am a huge Transformers fan. I didn't let the
Hmm.
movies ruin that, but I wanted, and some people love them. Plenty of people. I mean, they made enough fucking money
Oh yeah.
somebody likes them,
Mm-hmm.
And if you like them and you're watching, that's brilliant. That's good for you. I'm glad that you get to enjoy them, but I did not.
That's exactly how I feel. That's like the exact same sentiment as I feel with Star Wars. I know there are people that like the sequels. I am happy that you like them
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I don't. Um, but yeah, that's the same sentiment. I just thought of one, which it's not a franchise, but Nightmare Before Christmas. I hope they don't ever touch that. Because I
mm,
really loved that movie growing up. I mean, it's whatever now, but I just feel like it's such a movie that was kind of ahead of its time, and it wasn't received well when it first came out. Nobody liked that. Well, people liked it,
yeah.
but it wasn't. It didn't make a lot of money, and it was over time that people started to like it. I don't even know what happened. I think Hot
Yeah.
Topic at
Well,
some
it's
point, I
had to
guess.
find its
Yeah,
audience. It's like I said,
yeah.
it's super iconic now,
Oh
and
yeah,
to more so to generations that weren't there
exactly.
when
Well,
it came out.
yeah, well, at Disneyland, they every Christmas they do Haunted Mansion. They turn it all into Nightmare Before Christmas. They have Nightmare Before Christmas characters. So it's again, and that was what in the 90s, and it's massive now. It wasn't massive then, but massive now. So I think yeah, don't touch that. Leave that alone.
Yeah, I get the feeling they will. I see a live action version at some
Probably,
point.
probably. Well, everybody over there is, kind of creatively bankrupt. I don't know if they have, you know, unfortunately, any good ideas anymore. So they just keep, well, I mean, you see with all the Disney remakes, Snow White just came out, what else? Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella,
Yeah,
Aladdin.
it's yeah, it's kind of crazy the live action thing. If it's like I get to if you want to do it again, but you want to
Hmm.
do something different, but you're doing it again and you're doing it the same. But
You know,
you know,
well, which one do you prefer? Because I almost hope it's the same. I almost don't want it different. Because if it's different, then just make something different.
yeah, just with the original IP instead
Right.
of yeah. 'Cause if you mess with the, but that's why I don't, not quite sure where they, except for that,
Yeah.
except for the money, I'm not quite sure. The idea of the live action remakes that are borderline sort of scene for scene, we won't change it. We won't really mess with your childhood, except for the fact that it's live action and CGI, obviously.
Yeah.
But what's the point? You have a perfectly good film that
Hmm.
generations are still enjoying, that people are showing their kids, their grandkids, and they still like it. They're
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
not watching that old crap. Kids are
Hmm.
still watching it and loving it. So
Hmm.
you don't need a new version for a new generation.
Right.
I think they're underestimating how kids will still love The Lion King as was without having to
Yeah.
do a live action or huge big budget CGI version. They don't need it.
Well, and that's a good example because I remember seeing the live action and being like, this is incredibly boring because they just didn't have the same, they kept their faces like they wanted to make, well, I like how they, first of all, they call it live action. It's not, it's CG, it's all
Well, yeah,
CGI, but like, so that's like number one. Number two, their facial expressions are not, well, there isn't much, so there's not like the same charm and like that. So that's the thing, is like if you're going to remake it, I think you really have to choose one that is going to be transferable to a live action. So I'm a huge anime fan, and there's just something about animes more often than not that you can't really create with people.
yeah,
There are some, but there's a lot that it's just the charm is lost. And same with animation, like charm gets lost. Like so okay, Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid was one of my favorites growing up. And I don't necessarily dislike the live action, um, because I actually do really like her as a Disney princess. I thought she embodied the Little Mermaid, aesthetic really well. I actually really
yeah.
enjoyed her and her singing. but the underwater scenes just were not that great, you know, and I don't know if that has to do with, you know, technology just not being there, or if it's just because it should just be a
Yeah,
cartoon, you know, because
yeah.
cartoon is good for fantasy and live action just doesn't really capture that all the time.
Animation is great. There's so many movies, and I mean, when when you when you're as old and grey as me, and when you grew up with puppets, animatronics, men in rubber suits, love a man in a rubber suit. That's a different episode, maybe a late night episode. But yeah, love a guy in a rubber suit and a ton of makeup. So there's a lot of films, and I see a lot of criticism for the terrible effects, and,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still blown away by it. Like, wow, look what they can
Mm-hmm.
do now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still sort of excited. Oh, look what they did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that it's that bad. I'd never let most of the time effects won't ruin a good film. If I'm immersed in the story, the world, if I give a shit about the characters and whether they win or lose or survive or get
Mm-hmm.
married and live happily ever after, whatever it might be, then some supposedly dodgy special effects
Yeah.
won't ruin that for me.
I
Um,
agree. Yeah, if the story's good, I don't really
yeah,
care. Obviously it makes it better if it's good, but if not, because I think, you know, it might pull you out a little bit if you're like, oh, that wasn't looking, you know,
yeah.
that CG didn't look great.
Like you
But if
said,
the story's good,
when you're dealing with fantasy and sci-fi, you're gonna need special effects, which is why I often sometimes, and that like I say, it could pull you out. So there are times when I just think, so how much money did this movie cost? 200,
hmm
300 million dollars.
hmm
Imagine spending $150 million on an animated movie,
hmm yeah,
and all the effects would be absolutely sublime and
hmm
perfect, and nobody would
hmm
criticize that element.
hmm
If you think
hmm
you've got the story, you think you've got your script, you think you've got the actors with the
hmm
charisma and embodying the right personalities that you want, you think you've got that,
hmm
animate it. Why
yeah.
not?
I, you know,
Big
and
budget.
I
Because like I
wonder
said, if
why.
even Disney aren't really doing big budget cinema theater going animation,
No, they're
you know,
not.
nobody's really doing it. If Disney
No.
aren't doing it, nobody's really doing it. And I kind
hmm
of miss that.
hmm I do too. I think, you know, so I'm trying to think of the last like really animated. I don't mean like uh CG, like actually animated. I don't even know what that would have been from Disney. Maybe Princess and the Frog. Maybe
Maybe.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Early I guess early 2000s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because some of my favorite, like I'm sure you've seen Iron Giant. That was a really
That's
cool
great.
animated movie. I mean see again, CG is great. Even what was that movie? The Wild Robot. I thought that was a great movie. The
Yeah,
CG was
sweet.
really cool. Prince of Egypt was a beautifully animated movie. I think that was like late 90s. And I wonder, I mean, I either there's people that just don't do it anymore, you know, because it's kind of a dying art,
Yeah.
if you will. I mean, I know a lot of people still paint and draw and stuff like that, but I doubt that maybe people are going in for illustration because computers is
Well,
the now.
um, there's an absolutely fantastic documentary. I'm trying to think of the name, but it's on Disney Plus,
hmm
and it's all behind the scenes with the artists, and it goes like chronologically,
hmm
and, it's just brilliant. It's just
I might have
absolutely
seen it.
from the
I
hand
can't think of what
drawn
you're
and the
talking
cell
about, but I might have
shading
seen it.
to the computers and how much certainly like with the earlier days of the CGI, that your Toy Story one and
hmm
things like that, like how much human input is
hmm
still going into that, and I think that's why they were still great and still worked,
hmm
in the way, because they didn't really change the process all
hmm
that much,
hmm
just took advantage of the technology. But now, yeah, it does kind of seem like well, we can make the same movie for like half the cost because computers can do so much, AI can do so much. We only need to
Hmm.
hire half the staff,
But
and it
even so, they're still spending a lot of money.
but it's
So
still a
it's
lot of
kind
money.
of like what's happening. So what was it? Let's say Wish was one of the last ones that they came out with, and I don't I mean, it didn't do well. I wouldn't say it flopped, but it didn't do well. And at some point, because I'm interested in the drama of, the downfall of of companies. Um, and so they had gotten rid of a lot of their animators, and they brought in people from, I don't know, I more so content creating people,
All
if you
right.
will. And I don't I just didn't understand what the purpose of that was. I know that they're trying to make things more modern, but that, and I don't know if, did you happen to see that movie? Wish.
Which, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
So, I mean, what did you, it wasn't terrible.
no,
It wasn't fantastic. It was very whatever, I thought. Like the animation, I could see what they were trying to do or go for, but it just didn't make sense. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Like there was like a weird style. They were trying to do a stylized film that just missed the mark. I, I felt like.
yeah. Yeah. I think you just missed the mark on
Yeah.
almost every level because the story's not quite there, the characters are not quite there, the
Mhm.
animation's not
Mhm.
quite. It's all just not quite there.
Mhm.
Like it was, I don't know, filling some kind of quota, as
Yeah.
if we have a movie slated for this day,
Mhm.
and we're gonna have a movie out. Almost like, is it ready? Not quite. Well, we're releasing
Put it
it
out
anyway.
anyways. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and you can tell that that's kind of what it's been, especially, well, not just with Disney. I mean, even, gosh, Warner Brothers and, so, I saw, I don't remember what it's called, but the new Captain America movie
Yeah.
wasn't
No.
awful, but it was not good. I felt, well, at least I didn't think it was good. I just was kind of like, what was the point of this story? Like I
Yeah.
didn't see any growth in his character. He was still very unsure about being Captain
Yeah.
America, and it's
I think
just like,
the
where are we
problem.
going? Like,
I think the biggest problem with that movie was they weren't brave enough to make the movie that it was supposed to be. A
mm-hmm,
movie about a black man who'd been screwed over by the government, who has
mm-hmm.
a legitimate grudge, who it could have been a thriller, a whodunit, if they didn't just give the game away straight away.
I know. I was
It's
like,
not him.
what?
He didn't do it. He's been
Yeah.
brainwashed. It's somebody else. If you'd have spent the whole movie thinking it could have been him, it might have been him, and you have to have this detective movie where obviously Captain America, Sam Wilson, wants it to not be,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got to wrestle with the idea that it might be. All the evidence is saying it is,
Right.
and like they didn't have the balls to make that movie,
Mm-hmm.
so they gave the game away straight away, and then it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
pointless. You're like, how long is it going to take? We all know it's you know. I'll
Yeah.
not
Well,
spoil
we
it if
know the Red
anybody
Hulk
hasn't
is
got
going
around
to
to it
show
yet.
up, and at what
So that
point?
was a
Yeah.
shame, and also that they didn't have the guts to go. Look, if you didn't watch the Disney Plus show, where he spends six episodes being unsure of himself and am I the right guy to hold the shield and blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
and Bucky gives him a slap and says, that
Get it together.
Steve picked you, get your shit, and he does get his shit
Mm-hmm.
together, and the ending of that TV show is epically awesome, and
Mm-hmm.
he's Captain America now with wings. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so actually so cool,
Yeah.
but people didn't watch it. It wasn't a
Yeah.
big hit, so they still they reran some of those story beats of that unsureness when he should
Yeah.
have been Captain America
Yeah.
because he's already been through that. But
Right.
it was like, oh, but what if people didn't watch the series? So let's do that again. There was
Yeah.
no need.
I feel like that's silly though, anyways. You know what I mean? Like they should have just done it regardless, because who wants to see a Captain America who's unsure of himself? I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Yeah, I know. I get
You
they're trying to
know?
make him they want to do a Captain America that's a bit more human, that's a bit less super soldier,
Yeah.
red, white, and blue, just like
Mm-hmm.
robotically. But
Mm-hmm.
they also did that with the Captain America character when he actually goes against the government. The guy, the super, so he's
Right.
Captain America, and then he goes,
Mm-hmm.
"No, I'm not signing that," and goes rogue. So
Mm-hmm.
we've already seen that our Captain America can have that growth, and that's the
Right.
inspiration that the new Captain America is going to take on. So yeah, you it's a big shoes to fill. So a little bit of "Can I really do this?" is fine,
Right.
but we didn't need like 6 episodes and a whole movie of "Can I really do this?" So
Right.
maybe the next movie you can kick some ass. A little bit
I mean, and
drawn
that's
out.
if they even that right, and that's even if they do one, because if this one flops, and that's, again, it goes towards like where, and that wasn't a very expensive movie to make because they did multiple reshoots.
Shoots, yeah,
And I don't even think that they're really telling their shareholders how much money they actually spent on it. I mean, it was at least 300, four
yeah.
hundred million, because I don't even know if that's including marketing. Like I told you I'm a nerd with
Yeah,
that. I'm a
usually,
nerd. I'm a
yeah,
nerd with.
yeah. It's usually with marketing. Um, it's why you kind of need to make if it's sort of 300 million, or at least
Mm-hmm.
that's the official that we might get told. If it's
Mm-hmm.
around 300 million, then the break even
Mm-hmm.
money it's going to have to make is around the 7 to
Yeah.
800 million mark, which
Mm-hmm.
is totally doable for a huge IP like Marvel, but they're struggling lately.
Well, and it's just because, again, it goes to what we were saying before. Like we said, this movie was going to come out. So I guess we have to make it come out, essentially, whether it's good or it's not. It's
Yeah,
just, I mean, and they did it with Star Wars. I remember being kind of excited when Disney first bought Star Wars. I was looking forward to it. My best friend and roommate at the time, he was not. He was like, they're gonna ruin it. And I was like, no, 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 no. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine. Um, and boy, that aged like milk. So, uh, where they had all these things, and she's still out there saying, we're gonna do this, we're doing this. I mean, there was the Rogue Squadron that
yeah.
got, shelved. There
I'm
was,
so happy about that. I mean, you
I
never know.
it's
It might have been the best new era Star Wars thing ever, maybe,
probably
but
not.
I was so skeptical that
Hmm.
for it to not be a thing, for it to get,
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, good.
it it's probably for the best. And and I was really excited for the Acolyte too. And my gosh, that show, I don't have really words for it.
Oh,
I won't even touch it because
I just thought again, a bit like with the Brave New World Captain America. I just thought the Acolyte, they could have gone to a place they've only gone in like novels and
hmm
some of the comic books. The
hmm
places that George Lucas hinted at and never quite got
hmm
round to. That's
hmm
that's really, if you're old enough to have lived through a time when there was no Star Wars to watch,
hmm
and you had to learn how to read, kids, if you
yeah.
wanted more of Skywalker's adventures. Um, they go to some dark places.
Yeah.
They address some issues with Jedi aren't all that great.
Right.
The issues of why did Darth Vader happen? Because Yoda's a bit of a git, right? Think about the whole repression thing. That
hmm
he's falling in love. It's the most natural, wonderful thing a human being can do. And Yoda says, "No, none of that.
Well, but
Not
you
on my
also
watch." I mean, he's bound to get a little bit pissy.
right.
It's only fair
Well,
and natural and cool, and uh,
we but we saw a bit of that in the prequels,
in the
right? We
prequels,
saw
yeah, we
that,
got a little bit
yeah.
more, and
hmm
then and then the
Clone
buyout
Wars a little bit
happened,
more.
and
And so,
we want
yeah.
to keep
I mean, I was
it.
personally
Yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
I just feel like they try to keep it too straightforward. Good guys, bad guys, like the old
Hmm
Western black hats, white hats movies. Red lightsaber, blue lightsaber. It's Star Wars. When
Yeah.
people say that, and I talk to people, and it's like because Star Trek is the one for deep and meaningful and politics
Hmm.
and grey areas and interesting things. Star Wars is just lightsabers, red and blue, and it's black and white. It's
Which
good and
is
evil,
not true
which
either.
it's
Yeah.
really not. No, it
Hmm.
shouldn't be. Lucas clearly didn't intend it to be, but that's what Disney seemed to want it to be. And the Acolyte had a great opportunity
They
to
did.
throw us into some really cool grey areas, and they just
Yeah.
weren't quite brave enough.
Hmm.
Maybe a season
Well,
two, maybe, but
I mean, yeah, and I've heard, well, so right, like they were supposed to be out, and I've heard that possibly they might do it now. And Darth Plagueis, they made him out to be like some weird creature in a cave where he's
yeah,
just not that at
that was a
all.
bit odd.
He's a very intelligent person, and he was, part of the, what was it, like the tax, help me out here, the tax, the
Oh,
I don't know. I'm spacing the banking clan
yeah,
or something, right?
yeah,
So, and I was looking forward to seeing a Star Wars story from the bad guy's perspective,
yeah.
which is what this was supposed to be. And I don't know exactly what happened, but they just missed a bunch of marks too,
They really
And
did.
the story itself really didn't make sense within. Not only did it not make sense with, you know, other Star Wars. But even within itself, it didn't make sense. And I think that's where it got frustrating was like, okay, if it doesn't really quite align with the prequels and the OG, well, the prequels also didn't quite align with the OG,
Not really.
completely there. So that's fine. But the story itself didn't make sense within itself. And that's when I was just like, all right, well, I'm done.
Yeah,
I watched it, but
yeah.
yeah.
I watch. I try and find time for most things. With Star Wars, I am bound by the laws of me to watch it.
Hmm.
No matter how
Same.
often I might be disappointed,
Yeah.
but I'm going to watch it. Did you power through Skeleton Crew?
No, I
Yeah,
I
no,
think I got to episode 4, and
and nothing had happened.
I just kind of lost interest. And I mean, maybe I'll finish it at some point. I told myself I would, but I'm also like,
Yeah,
well, I would much rather play the Indiana Jones game, or you know what I mean, right? Like that time that I'd be watching Skeleton Crew. Um and that seemed like something that could have been really cool too. And it just, again, it like missed marks. And I don't know what it is. I think, again, it's
yeah.
the creative bankruptcy that's going on over there. And people quite, they're one, you're right, they're a little afraid to do something to
Yeah.
get backlash. But they're going to, first of all, I mean, they're going to get backlash either way. Either
Oh
just
God,
make something good, just make something good.
there's
Doesn't
this
matter.
there's this thing. If you're watching Disney, Mr. Iger, Bob Iger, I've got high hopes for you, actually, kid. But there's this thing called the internet, and, and everybody hates everything,
Hmm.
except in my little corner, where we kind of
Yeah,
generally sort of love everything, and because I haven't got time or energy in my soul to really waste complaining about things
good.
too much. He said, "Oh yeah, that wasn't really for me. That's about as good as it gets. I'm not going to go on some huge rant about why it's wrong because even the Acolyte, it's better than any TV show I've ever made when push
True.
comes to shove. So you know, we have a
Yeah.
certain amount of skin in the game as fans, but we are just fans, and we don't really. Lots of incredibly great creative people did put a lot of their time and effort into making shows that we don't like.
Hmm.
From the costume department, the lighting, the music, and
Hmm.
really, uh, not to just be like everything is awesome because it's not, but there are always positives. They're always like maybe I wasn't engaged and immersed in the world and the storyline, but it did look fantastic. The
Hmm.
costume department did a great job. It did look good. It did seem like a world I wanted to spend time in,
Hmm.
you know, from
Yeah.
looking at it. But the characters didn't really pull me in. But the world, something, there's always something, a positive you can
I will
pull
say,
out and just put out there.
Yeah, and I will say, I think I would take bad Star Wars over no Star Wars because at least then that means, I mean, people won't agree with that, but because I still want to see Star Wars stuff,
Yeah,
right? Like I don't want it to go away, for many reasons. Even though, the Star Wars Land or Galaxy's Edge is not the best at Disney, it still exists and I
yeah,
will still go every year until, I can't anymore essentially because it's skyrocketed price wise. But, like it's something that obviously we're talking about. People still talk about it, whether good
yeah.
or bad. And, as long as people are just being nice, right? Everybody can have their own opinion. And,
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's
mhm,
just there. There are opinions that we have about fictional people and places that don't exist. You can't really get. I appreciate the passion, but you can't really get too wound up about things
right.
that don't exist when all's said and done. I'm a huge fan of various things, but
hmm
you know, they don't. I know they're
Well, you're not gonna let
not
it ruin
real.
your day. Well, maybe for a little bit you'll let it ruin. Maybe you'll have a good little frustration, time out. But other
Yeah,
than that, like life goes on. Because
yeah,
I like I said, I will always be a Star Wars fan, no matter what, and I'll just like the thing. I'll just watch the things that I like.
yeah.
You know. I buy the things that I like. So I just bought a micro machine and it was the Naboo
Oh,
starfighter from Phantom Menace. I'm
that's
not
cute.
buying the new stuff. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very cute. And it's got little Annie and it has R2D2. So I bought that,
yeah,
like I didn't buy the new
yeah.
stuff of the whatever the ship was of Skeleton Crew. I went and found the one that I liked and I bought it. So yeah, I mean, and so that goes back to toys, right? Like um there's a lot of kind of whatever toys out there that are kind of thrown together, but they're still there. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
there's,
yeah.
I mean, and it's a little oversaturated in some respects, but I'm still glad that they're a thing. Because then I get to enjoy them and then I get to enjoy them with my daughter and I can still collect and try and find the cool stuff out of the not so great stuff, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Hey, do you want to play a quick game?
Sure.
No wrong answers.
Okay.
No wrong answers. Sadly, no prizes for you either.
Uh,
Yeah, one day.
no trip to England.
Oh, if I ever get to reach a point where I could possibly get paid for doing this,
Right.
it would probably all get funneled straight back out again into crazy prizes and giveaways and stuff. Because yeah, money. Who
Yeah.
needs it? Everybody. But
Yeah.
hey, um, so I like to do a little bit of this or that,
Okay.
just for fun. So cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Oh, see, that was quick and easy.
Yep.
Pizza or kebab?
Ooh.
Ooh,
I think I might have to go. Well, we say
kebab.
kebab over here. I think I might have to go kebab.
No,
Yeah.
not we. I don't get many of those actually. A lot more Ninja Turtles than
Oh.
what would eat a kebab? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf?
Oh, I'm scared of werewolves. I have an irrational fear of werewolves. So I'll be a vampire.
I mean, probably a good thing to be scared of. I mean, by all accounts. I mean, if you had like an irrational need to cuddle one, that could probably end
Yeah.
badly. But to be
Well,
scared of one, probably for the best.
yeah, I had this dream many years ago that I still remember like it was yesterday, and it was about a werewolf, and I've just never liked them since. So, but yeah, I mean, well, I like vampire movies anyway. So anyway, we're going vampire.
Oh, vampire. Okay. Skydiving or scuba diving?
Um, well, I've been indoor skydiving, which is obviously not the same, but I
Indoor sky.
enjoyed
That's
that.
the thing.
Yeah, you're in a big tunnel, a big wind tunnel, and you
All right.
just jump out and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've done that a couple times. I loved it. I don't know if I love it enough though to jump out of a plane. because you can't die in a wind tunnel as far as I'm concerned. You probably can die skydiving. But then scuba diving, oh, there's lots of sharks. I guess if I had to pick, we'll just go scuba.
Scuba. Okay. Would you rather have money or free time?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, it's a bit of a loaded
I think I'm gonna go.
question.
I think I'm gonna go free time. Because I can make money in my free time, and free
Or
time is also wonderful.
yeah, or money hopefully buys you the free time.
That's
If you haven't, I mean,
true.
I've never had all that much of it, but in theory,
Yeah,
I like to think if you've got enough
right.
and you can pay people
That you
to do
can
all the
have.
boring, you pay someone to do all the boring stuff you don't want to do, you now have
Right.
more free time
Free time. Yep.
for fun
Free
stuff.
time.
Okay, would you rather see a puppet show or a magic show?
Hmm. I think I think I'll probably go magic.
Magic. Now, the follow-up
Mm-hmm.
question is always: do you like the close-up, misdirection, pick a card, any card, ball in the cup, kind of
Mm-hmm.
the stuff, or do you want to go for the big ass, like make the Empire State Building disappear, kind of
Nah,
illusion?
just the little stuff. Yeah, just the
I like the
little
rules.
random thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think sometimes maybe like the bigger it gets, the harder it is to buy into. Like
Yeah.
the Empire State Building's still there.
Yeah.
Like you do. You know it
Yeah.
is.
Just do some weird sleight of hand and I won't be
Yeah.
able to understand
I
it.
I keep telling this story because I keep asking the same old questions. But I was at a birthday party recently, and there was a guy, and he was doing quick, fun little card tricks for people. So he, gives the deck a good shuffle, pick a
Hmm.
card, any card. I pick a card. I can't remember. It's the seven of spades, right?
Hmm.
You know, put it back in the deck. Don't show him all of that. Shuffles it all again. Really good shuffle. He had all the fancy moves with the shuffles.
Hmm.
Um, puts it back together, and he's got. So wouldn't it be great if the very top card was yours, and he lifts it up? Sure as hell, it's mine. It's the seven of spades, and I go, "Wow, cool, well done." And he goes, "Not really, you see, because Bush." And he lays them out on the table, and they're all the seven of spades.
Oh
And I'm like,
wow. Oh
"Okay, how'd you do that?"
wow.
There's just that little
Yeah,
twist at the end. I was like,
right.
"Okay, I was impressed anyway."
Yeah.
And now you're my new best friend. I'm going to
Right.
sit with you for the rest of the
Right.
party and tell me how you do this.
I'm gonna be analyzing you the rest of the party.
Yeah, that was very, very cool thing. What else have we got? Oh, sweet or savory?
I'm gonna go savory.
Savory.
Mhm.
Um, bath or shower?
Shower.
Shower. A lot of showers. A lot of people don't like sitting in human soup.
No, not for me. Not for me.
um, okay. Oh, how about? Would you prefer to host a party or attend a party?
Host a
Host
party. Mhm.
party. You want all the responsibility and stress of hosting.
Yes,
You're
I
okay with
do.
that?
I do. I like chaos. I like the chaos
Great.
of it, to be honest. I've always been one to, yeah, throw a party rather than want to attend
Oh,
one. So,
cool.
yep.
Okay, so how about these last couple? Okay, would you rather have ice cream that doesn't melt,
Hmm.
or I usually say pizza that never goes cold, but or kebab that never goes cold?
Ice cream that never melts. Yep.
Good ice cream. Okay. Okay. Uh, well, I usually say Star Wars or Star Trek. I think we might have answered that one just
Yep.
briefly. We might have touched
Yeah.
on it somewhere
If you can
earlier
see
on.
behind me.
But Dragon Ball or Pokemon?
Um, I'm gonna go Dragon Ball. I don't I've seen more Pokemon than I have of Dragon Ball, but I think the overall story of Dragon Ball um is a lot cooler. So we're gonna go Dragon Ball.
Yeah. And it puts us back into martial arts territory from your Power Rangers and karate days.
Yeah.
Um, what else? we got here. Okay, so would you rather be,
Mhm.
bear with me on this one, would you rather be a genius in a world of fools or a fool
Okay.
in a world of geniuses?
Oh, oh my gosh, I don't know. Um, I think I think I'm gonna go full in a world of geniuses.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no right answers, but
yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna go with that because I don't think I could be around a bunch of fools for my whole life. I'd rather be the fool. I think at that point.
it'd be so much fun. It'd be
Yeah.
so much fun. Um, okay, and lastly, right, would you rather fart glitter or burp confetti?
Oh my God. We're gonna go fart glitter. I heard that right, right? You
Why
said
not?
fart
Yeah,
glitter?
yeah.
Yeah, no, fart glitter. Let's
Um,
go for it.
now, I always ask these two things to somewhat finish off. Now, they might be simple one word answers, or you might have a great story to tell.
Mhm.
Either way, it's all good. But have you ever seen a UFO?
I have.
You have. You have a UFO story.
I've got a couple, but I'll do the one.
You kind
So
of,
have you?
yeah. I was
Huh?
just thinking, you're kind of in a bit of a sort of a hotspot kind of an area for that sort of thing. I believe, maybe,
Um,
or
yeah.
not too
So have
far.
you ever heard of the Phoenix Lights?
I have actually,
So I
yes.
saw
Oh,
those. I saw those. So I have a lot of family that lives in Phoenix, and we were driving home and on the highway, and we saw them. So I mean, that's about it, right? Like we were like, what the hell is that? And not just my family and I saw it. I mean, all of Phoenix saw it and a lot of other
yeah,
surrounding cities. So that's the one I usually lead with because most people who are UFO, I guess, uh,
yeah,
what's the word I'm looking for? Not connoisseur, but like UFO
enthusiast.
enthusiasts. There we go.
Yeah.
Know about that. Another one I'll quickly, when I was, I don't know, maybe 7, something like that. I was over at my grandparents' house and I was outside kicking the football around with my dad, and you can see the mountains where they're at. And we see these lights, balls of lights, and they're kind of just hanging out, very bright. And all of a sudden, I think there was 2, and then there was 4, and then there was 6, and they were all kind of just moving. Now, the way I would describe it now is very similar to a drone, but this is, and not to give my age away, but decades ago,
Yeah.
like a couple of maybe a few decades ago. So as far as we're concerned back then, supposedly drones did not exist. Maybe they did, and we just didn't know about them yet, right?
Yeah.
Because I do live in a city that we have a big Air Force base, so who knows,
Who
right?
knows?
But they were, moving around, doing a formation. Some would disappear, and then some would come back. So, I mean, whether it was extraterrestrial or not, I guess it still goes in the UFO.
Oh yeah.
So those are the two. Those are the two big ones. Phoenix Lights. Always got to tell that one because most people know about those.
Oh, brilliant. So what's you listen to music much while you're on your travels or sorting out your boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's in your playlist these days? What do you go for?
so
You go retro with that as well?
I have been recently. So, growing up, a lot of the music I would listen to was a lot of 80s because my parents, were 80s new wave fans. So, a lot of 80s or my dad, he wasn't like a super metalhead, but we did, listen to the Metallica or the occasional Slayer. So, that's kind of most of my growing up. But as of now, I've been listening to the Spice Girls again recently because I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, any kind of like early 2000s, like house music. I do listen to a lot of 90s and 2000s rap, and I love bossa nova, so I listen to a lot of bossa nova too.
Nice.
It's very random.
Do you have have any of the Spice Girls action figures? Because there
I
were
have,
Spice
yeah,
Girls
I
action
have a
figures.
couple
Yeah.
Barbies. I have a couple Barbies, yeah. I wish I had more. I know that I had all of them at one point, but I can only find two, so it's only a matter of time until I find the others. I'm hoping.
I always like to ask, what was the last, if you had time, what was the last movie you watched that you'd recommend? It doesn't have to be a new movie.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be something new. It could have been, you could have been indulging in nostalgia or whatever. But the
Hmm.
last movie you watched that you'd recommend to people.
So, I just watched for the first time Kiss Kiss Bang
Oh,
Bang,
right.
after Val Kilmer died.
Yeah.
And because I mean Tombstone,
Oh,
so I actually live in the city that Tombstone was filmed in for the most part, and I also live an hour and a half away from actual Tombstone. So I that movie is a great movie, but I feel like it's kind of like whatever for me, and I think it's just because I live in the area. But it's a beautiful film, and I love him in that movie. That he's
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite movies of his. But I'd never seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and I watched that the other night. Have you ever
Oh,
seen it?
yes.
It's it's a fun, silly movie. It's like they don't make movies like that anymore, I don't think. So it was kind of fun to watch, just something kind of silly and fun, and I liked him in that movie. Uh, so I would recommend that for like
Yeah.
a fun movie to just sit and watch and eat some popcorn.
Which is, well, what more do you want? We want to be
Right.
entertained. I mean,
Yeah.
I love a bit of deep and meaningful from time to time or whatever, but generally
Hmm.
speaking, I just want to be entertained, and I'm fairly
Yeah.
easily pleased. Like we said, the Star Wars stuff, the Marvel stuff, I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm still enjoying it, or at least parts of it, or enough of it to
Hmm.
go back for the next one. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
certainly the Marvel stuff. Anyway, still, I'm not as down on that as a lot of people.
Hmm.
I just feel like they had a ridiculously good run. Uh, that then trying to continue to live up to that is just never going to happen. So
I
people should
mean,
stop expecting it to, really. And the
hmm I
audience has
think,
gone. The audience has gone.
yeah.
People see what people have forgot. This is my theory. I'm going to put it out here so it's saved and I
Hmm.
can share it with the world. But my theory, it's as simple as it. People, you forget. It's easy to forget now. But going back to 2008's Iron Man, these are niche movies,
Hmm.
or they were. Now it's
Yeah.
mainstream popcorn cinema or whatever. But making a superhero movie was a niche thing. It's
Hmm.
not going to make much money. There
Right.
aren't many fans. I mean, there are like millions of comic book fans, but like it's not. It doesn't translate to mainstream people.
They weren't
Just
for
it's
like
Friday night. Let's go to the
normies.
cinema. What shall we
Hmm.
see? You don't go see as a comic book fan, as a Marvel fan. There are plenty of friends, and I am friends with them. But if I'd have said, "Hey, do you want to come and go see this movie? What's it about?" Well, it's about a billionaire who kind of becomes a robot superhero, and they'd be like, "No," you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and a lot of people did say no. You know,
Hmm.
it took quite a few movies to get going. They kind of
Hmm.
they made some money, but they weren't setting the world on fire. It's a very niche thing. Everybody in Hollywood, every so-called expert, every big money producer and stuff told them not to do it. They said, "Don't do it. It won't work. It'll fail," and they did it anyway.
Hmm.
And along the way, they had a really amazing PR team that
Hmm.
somehow made these movies the thing, the place to
Hmm.
be. And all these people got pulled into this vortex that were not fans, that were not
Hmm.
comic book fans, were not Marvel fans, were not science fiction fans, not fantasy fans, or whatever umbrella you might put whichever individual film kind of
They were
under.
just the normies. Yeah.
But I don't know how much they really liked them, but they were certainly buying a ticket,
Hmm.
which was making the money.
Hmm.
What they thought afterwards, I don't know, but they
Hmm.
bought the tickets because they had to, and they had to post on their social media that I was there. So
Right.
it made a ton of money, and a ton of movies. 20 years later,
Mm-hmm.
almost, we're coming up to, um, a lot of those people have fallen away because they were never really fans in the first place of
Mm-hmm.
these very niche,
Mm-hmm.
kind of very aimed at a very specific target audience. They were never really fans anyway. The fact that we dragged them along for the best part of 15 years
Mm-hmm.
is crazy that that even
Mm-hmm.
happened. So now they're gone. I'm back to watching rom-coms or whatever they usually do.
Mm-hmm.
The only people left to watch a Marvel movie are people who've always been Marvel fans and those people who, granted, became fans because of the movies
Mm-hmm.
and have now stayed fans. But there's a huge chunk of that fandom that was making billion-dollar movies a few years ago
Mm-hmm.
that just aren't there anymore, which is maybe why, as we talked about a little earlier, if they can just bring the price down a little bit on what it costs to make these movies, because I just don't think the fans are there.
Yeah.
Those casual fans, if you will. I don't mean that as
Yeah.
a derogatory. I'm not criticizing anyone who was brought in and who's gone. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Right.
I'm not being snobby like that. I don't mean that in any way. I really don't.
Right.
But they're just, Kevin Feige, if you're watching, if you're listening, they're just not there. So the
Mm-hmm.
money's just not there.
Mm-hmm.
They might be able to get it back again one day, but right now, it's as simple as that. Just that the fan base has shrunk, not
Well,
because of
like we said.
not because the quality's gone down
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. A lot of people would say it has, but I don't think that's the biggest contributing factor. I think these
Mm-hmm.
people were only ever going to be along for the ride while it was the cool thing to do. And it's
Right.
just human nature to put things on a pedestal only to knock them down.
Right.
And now the majority of YouTube videos are like, Marvel sucks and this is why. 10 reasons why Marvel's shit now.
Yeah.
And so those people that were just along for the ride because all the YouTubers were saying, this is the best thing that ever happened in the world, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So those people are gone. And it's
Mm-hmm.
fine. You'll
Yeah.
live. But maybe Marvel Studios just has to temper their own expectations a little bit due to that.
Right. Well, and so, I mean, so when we were going back to before, like, we don't need, is it cool when the CG is great?
Yeah.
Of course. But I would really like a story that is just good. A good story, an interesting story. It doesn't even necessarily have to be new. You can recycle some things, but then again, like you got to do it the right way, and you have to do it in a sense that also honors and pays homage, right, to the stories or the movies before. And how can quality stay up when you're pushing movies out every year? I mean, sometimes you're getting multiple
Yeah.
movies a year,
Yeah.
so it is one of those things. What goes up must come down. No one is too big to fail. We know that.
Yeah.
And I think if they just were to take a step back and dial it in a little bit and just say, okay, what are we missing here? Because we've done it before.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
happened? Why can't we do it again? What can we do to bring these
If
people
you can
in? And
get
then
people
also keep the
watching,
diehard fans.
if you can get people watching Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah, which was not, no
a
one
group
knew
of
who they
people
were.
that, yeah, the big comic book fans that I know didn't even know
Mm-hmm.
much
Yeah,
about. So, the man on the
I
street
didn't know who they were.
doesn't know who they are. If you
Yeah.
can pull that off, and this is in a
Mm-hmm.
world where you made a Captain America movie and it flopped, it
Mm-hmm.
outright bombed. No two. I mean, I quite like it actually, but it bombed, like monetarily at least, economically. It bombed.
Right.
Like your flagpole character. This people do know this one. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's
He's
like
one of
Captain
he's
America, Spider-Man, and the Fantastic Four. There's rights issues; they couldn't do Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. But Captain
mm-hmm.
America was a guy you could do. They did, and it
Mm-hmm.
failed.
And I would argue that he's one of the bigger Marvel characters that
Yeah,
even if you don't read comic books or don't, watch the movies, I would
yeah.
think
You
that
can
most
just
people have
show
at
people a
least heard of
picture
who
and
he
they know.
is.
Yeah,
Right. Same with like Batman. You might not, watch it, but everybody knows who
but
Batman
you
is
know
or
that. Yeah,
Superman. So,
exactly. Yeah, and yet that flopped. Just fast
mhm.
forward, not too many years later, you're making Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and it's a lot of people's favorite movie out of the whole lot.
Yeah.
So,
And it's a ride at Disneyland. It's big enough to be a
yeah,
ride. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff that's Groot and Rocket, toys and, lip. I saw chapstick for kids that was Groot and Rocket,
oh,
just like super random stuff,
merchandising,
or it's
merchandising, merchandising.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. So if you can do it with with a group of characters that nobody knew,
yeah,
and then everybody grew to love very quickly,
very.
it's like, why can't you
It's
do it,
crazy.
with people
Yeah,
that people already love? So again, I think it's just trying to churn, cash cow, and if they just dial it back a little bit.
like we said, Guardians. I mean, the MCU in general.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of end game phase
Mm-hmm.
from the up to end game. A big part of why that worked was just the balls to do it. This
Mm-hmm.
niche thing that won't work, and the continuity, it won't work. Endgame essentially is Iron Man 26 or whatever numbered movie
Mm-hmm.
that would be. They're all sequels. There's no other franchise. With like
Right.
right now, we're on like Iron Man 35 or whatever Captain America: Brave New World is. Essentially, it's Iron
Yeah.
Man 35, Iron Man 36, or something. Even Rocky
Yeah.
doesn't have that many films
Yeah.
out. Even Jason Voorhees doesn't
Not
have that
yet.
many films out, and he's got a
Not
lot.
yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Who knows?
But so to think that you're still watching,
Mm-hmm.
sequels, you're still watching
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man sequels,
Mm-hmm.
and yet maybe they're not quite as successful as the, it's still a massive success story. Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to keep you here all night, but I really shouldn't do
I
that.
know.
So,
I We went from toys to like movies, which
yeah,
was great.
I
I
was just
I
gonna.
could talk about it all
We'll
day.
go. We'll end the way we started.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's even on this video because we lost a little chunk.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll end the way we started with your beloved Power Rangers. And
Okay.
so I'm going to have to ask you how you're feeling about the potential, the new, Netflix owns it now. They did the kind of little reunion thing to end.
Uh-huh.
Because every Power Rangers, I don't know if people know this, kids, Power Rangers is the only thing to rival the MCU. All the iterations, the Dino Fury, the Cosmic Samurai, all of that,
Whatever. Yeah.
it's all one big continuity. They all do exist in the same universe. They've all had crossovers with each other at some point. Tommy's in pretty much all of them at some point until his untimely demise.
Mm-hmm.
Bless him. Um, what a guy! What a really nice guy he was.
Yeah.
So, but it's not quite dead yet. But so Netflix are going to do something new with
Mm-hmm.
it. Does
Mm-hmm.
that excite you or does that scare you?
So I haven't actually watched any of the Power Rangers after like the mid 90s, late 90s, like so the Dino Fury and all those
Yeah.
ones. I never watched them. So I'm still very much living early 90s to late 90s Power Rangers, and that's it.
I mean,
Um
it doesn't. They have a formula that doesn't
yeah,
really change much. Just
yeah.
just new toys.
Exactly. So I think I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I get to relive a lot of this with my daughter, which I really, really, it's been a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
that's why I started my channel to begin with, was bringing all my toys out. So, um, I think I'll watch it. I think it's just kind of like a come what may type of thing. We'll see what they do with it. Maybe it'll be really great. Maybe it'll be really cool, and
Yeah.
they'll revive it, if you will. So
Yeah, and maybe, as we said, maybe Netflix Power Rangers is better than no Power Rangers, eh?
exactly, exactly.
So, on that note, uh, I don't end this show. You do.
I
Now
do.
you're scared
Okay,
now, aren't you? No, we. I have a catchphrase.
okay.
I have a catchphrase, but I like to get the guest to say it on our way out. You can do this however you see fit. If you want to
Okay.
just say it, if you want to sing it, if you want to shout it, scream it, if you want to do it comedically. If you have a celebrity impersonation, now would
Oh
probably
boy.
now could be the time. Um,
Okay.
so I give you carte blanche on how you want to do this. But your line is,
Hmm.
till next time, keep it foxy.
Okay. So sometimes I
Oh,
eat food.
no.
So,
Oh,
oh
you're back.
no, what happened?
You're back. Go
Oh
for it.
gosh. Okay. Oh no, what's happening? Am I gone again?
No, it's cool.
Oh, okay. My screen is
Oh,
black now.
no.
Sorry, what was I supposed to say
Till
again?
next time. Till next time, keep it foxy.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw it out there because I'm afraid my phone's gonna die. So until next time, keep it foxy.
Thank you very much indeed. As the sun sets slowly in the west from the Toybox time machine, Jojo. I'll see
Thank
you next week, kids.
thank you for having me.